What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics. And today we got a reaction to Neil Young and his album Homegrown, brought to us by friend, longtime supporter, and big Neil Young fan, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below, the patron link on the end screen. The patrons make this thing go. We would not make it without them. All right. We got a ton of Neil Young up. Trey and I reviewed all of his albums of the 70s and a few other ones, and I've done a few other ones for Carl. But it's been a minute. So let's dive into Homegrown. It's Neil's 40th studio album. It was released on June 19th, 2020 by Reprise Records. But listen, don't be confused by that 2020 release date. The album consists of material recorded between June of 74 and January of 1975. The album was recorded after the release of On the Beach and before the sessions of Zuma. Like those two albums, much of the material was inspired by Neil's relationship with actress Carrie Snodgrass, which was deteriorating in 1974. The album was compiled and prepared for release in 1975. They had it all ready to go. Instead, Tonight's a Night was released in its place, a very underrated album, I might say, and Homegrown remained unreleased for decades. It was finally set for release as part of Record Store Day in 2020 and Neil's ongoing Archives campaign. It was again delayed by Record Store Day's postponement due to, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic, before finally seeing its release, as I said, on June 19th of 2020. A little more background on this. In mid-June 1974, Neil recorded several acoustic performances of new material at his home studio at the Broken Arrow Ranch. Later that month, he would convene Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young for further sessions and rehearsals for the upcoming stadium tour. During the 1974 CSNY tour, Neil debuted 17 new songs on the stage. Play them out there, see what people think, right? Studio sessions for the album began in earnest in mid-December 1974 at Quadraphonic Sound Studios in Nashville. Around 30 songs are reported to have been recorded between June 74 and January 75, many of which can be seen in handwritten lists shown on Neil Young Archives, as several tracks lists were assembled before the album was canceled. The material from these sessions is largely acoustic, most of it being solo performances of Neil on guitar and harmonica. He has said that, quote, Homegrown is a missing link between Harvest, Comes a Time, Old Ways, and Harvest Moon. The songs are quite personal, reveal much of his feelings on his failing relationship, as I talked about earlier, with his relationship with Carrie Snodgrass. It was a little too personal. It scared me, Young would later explain to Cameron Crowe in an interview for Rolling Stone. It was so near to being released that a cover had been created. At the last moment, however, Young chose to drop Homegrown and release instead Tonight's a Night, an unreleased album that was recorded itself in 1973, right? He stated he had a playback party from Homegrown and Tonight's a Night happened to be on the same reel. He decided to release Tonight's a Night after that listening because of, quote, its overall strength and performance and feeling, and because Homegrown was, quote, just a very down album. Now, this kind of goes back even a ways. It's released in 2020, but in 2010, Neil Young's online newspaper stated that Homegrown, along with other period unreleased albums, were being, quote, rebuilt for inclusion in the second volume of his Archives project. Unlike similar release collections from the period of Young's career, such as Chrome Dreams and the session acetates for Tonight's a Night, Homegrown is never circulated in whole as a bootleg. In July of 2019, Neil's Archives mastering team began working on the original master tapes. The official site for Neil Young Archives shows several pictures of the tape boxes and respected handwritten notes, revealing much of the work that was required to create new analog masters. Using the original as a source is quite difficult if you dig into it. Metacritic gave us an 88 out of 100, Pitchfork 8.8 out of 10. High praise. A ton of these songs, and I'll get into them a little bit, but appear other places, and a ton of the other songs released or recorded then or appear on other albums and other archives. It's just, there's a lot to it. I'm not going to go into all that part of it, but as most of you know, if you're watching this, you're a Neil fan, he took his stuff off Spotify a few years ago, which makes listening to him a little bit of a pain. I wish he'd come back. I understand why he did it, but because of that, you won't see the tracks below. It's not on Spotify. I'm pulling every song off YouTube. Let's get this thing started with the song Separate Ways. This one was recorded at Quadraphonic Sound Studios in Nashville on December 11, 1974, produced by Neil and Elliot Mazur. You got Neil on guitar and vocal and harmonica, Ben Keith on pedal steel, Tim Drummond on bass, and the great Levon Helm on drums. I'm going to the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Carl. All right, Ben Keith's pedal steel just added a fantastic texture that is really well done. I mean, the instrumentation, the arrangement, and, you know, it is definitely a heartbreaking song. Even now we go our separate ways looking for better days versus sharing our little boy, who of course is Zeke, who grew from joy back then. And it's all because of that love we knew, babe, that makes the world go round. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. Oh, well, it's all because of love we knew, babe, that makes the world go round. Separate ways. So a heartbreaking song. By the way, Carrie Snodgrass was originally supposed to play Adrian in Rocky. Sylvester Stallone has talked about that before, but said she declined it because of the money. Wasn't a great career move. Except we have the song "Try," basically the same people, and you got Levon Helm on here as well. You have Emmylou Harris on a vocal on here. This one was recorded same time, December 12th, 1974. In this one, Neil's paying tribute to Carrie's mother by incorporating bits of her language into verse. All right, Try, Emmylou Harris on background vocals. So you don't get to really enjoy her as much, but it's basically just saying, look, if we just hang with this thing sooner or later, we got enough time. Time is on our side. We're going to eventually get together. I mean, that's the best way I can sum that one up. Next up, we got a very short song, minute 40 seconds. We got Mexico. It's Neil on piano and vocal. This one was recorded in LA in January of 1975. And that's it, Mexico. Daddy's a travel man. He's going to go down to Mexico. Things didn't work out. You can feel the pain in his voice a little bit there, but a nice tune with Neil on vocal and piano. I mean, you feel like maybe it could have been a little longer, like maybe one more verse in there would have been great, but it's a good song. Next up, we have another shorter song. It's over 2 minutes, so 2 minutes, 16 seconds. We got Love is a Rose. We got Neil on guitar, vocal, and harmonica. We got Tim Drummond on bass. This one first became popular in 1975 when Linda Ronstadt had a country hit with her version reaching number 5. Neil eventually recorded or released this in 1977 on the compilation Decade. The melody for this was taken from another as yet unreleased song, Dance, 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 which finally saw release on Live at Massey Hall in 1971 and 2007. Neil's longtime backing band Crazy Horse recorded the song with the title Dance, Dance, Dance in 1971 on their album Crazy Horse, and the New Seekers released it as a single in 1972. Lots of background on this song. Love is a Rose. Tim Drummond getting a little bass showcase at the start and a little bit there at the end. And basically, I mean, love is a rose, but you better not pick it. It only grows when it's on the vine. A handful of thorns and you'll know you've missed it. You lose your love when you said the word mine, when you get selfish, right? So yeah, I mean, a well done song. Next up, we have the title track, Homegrown, recorded at Quadraphonic Sound Studios, December 13, 1974. We got Ben Keith coming in here and going that lap slide guitar, Tim Drummond on the bass, Carl T. Hemmel on the drums, and we got Neil on guitar and vocal. Homegrown almost seems more like a jam than a finished song, but it starts out with the chorus, which is a Neil songwriting technique. I mean, he doesn't do it on the majority of his songs, but he does it more than almost anyone I've come across in the years on this channel. But the highlight for me here is the guitar work. The guitar work is fantastic. The song itself, you know, I mean, everything should be homegrown, right? I don't know really what he's getting at, right? Homegrown's a good thing. Plant that bell and let it ring. Maybe stay at home. Like, it's all right around here. The sun comes up in the morning. It shines that light around. One day without no warning, things start jumping up from the ground. So I guess we're just going to truly build or grow stuff homegrown. But it's okay, man. It's not one of my favorites on this album, actually. Next up, we have Florida, recorded at Village Recorders in LA in January 75. It's a song depicting a dream Neil once had. In the dream, Neil is in Florida in his 50s, and he sees a glider crash into a couple, killing them. In the dream, the couple is Neil and Carrie. Them being killed by the glider is symbolic of the death of their relationship. He then walks over to the couple and sees a baby sitting next to their dead bodies. Neil picks up the baby, taking it to his car, where a lady stops him to tell him that that is her baby. This part of the dream is symbolic of Neil and Carrie both wanting custody of their baby. Of course, Zeke, I talked about him earlier. This dream is also referenced in the following song of the album, Kansas, which begins with the line, I feel like I just woke up from a bad dream. Benny Keith's playing the wine glass piano strings and narration. Neil's doing wine glass piano strings and vocal. Now, I read that in 2 different places. That's what this song's about, but I didn't read that Neil directly quoted that. So take that with a grain of salt. Okay, well, that's probably what this song was about. Just a strange thing to even put down on record, right? To even think of, like, I'm going to record this and we're just going to mix a little bit of piano strings and do a little bit of kind of weird stuff in the background. I mean, I don't really have anything to say about this song. I mean, it's self-explanatory. I'm going to finish out the traditional side one with the song Kansas. We just got Neil on guitar, vocal, and harmonica. This one was also recorded in LA in January of 75. All right, Kansas. I feel like I just woke up from a bad dream and it's so good to have you sleeping by my side. It's a very sparse song. And then we have a chorus, and then verse 2, yes, you're the one I'm talking to this morning with your mind so kind and your friendly body line. And then a different chorus. And then it ends with like, hold on, baby, hold on. It doesn't matter if you're the one. We'll know before we're done. right? So we'll figure this thing out. Now we'll start off side 2 with We Don't Smoke It No More. And you got a lot of musicians on this one. Recorded at Broken Arrow Ranch, Woodside, California on December 31st, 1974. So little New Year's Eve recording. We Don't Smoke It No More. Just a jam, right? It's just a jam. And the only words, we don't snort it, we don't lick it, we don't knock it, we don't kick it, we don't smoke it no more. And then they just repeat that 5 more times. We don't smoke it no more. Just a great instrumental jam session, right? I mean, I don't think they really would have started out side 2 with this. I mean, maybe they would have. Maybe this is the original sequencing, but if we had the traditional vinyl, I mean, it's a good song, but you had Neil on the guitar, vocal, and harmonica, Ben on lap slide guitar, Tim drumming on bass, Carl Hemmel on drums, Stan Zellist on piano, and Sandy Mazio coming in there on vocals. So, I mean, it was fine. I don't know if we're going to continue on this drug theme or not. We got White Line next. This one's recorded in London in September of 1974. So this thing was really recorded, truly, at all different times in all different studios. White Line. See, I'm thinking of going into that might be about cocaine, but I think it's about the white line of the highway. And he's a truck driver. Or am I taking it at face value because maybe it really is about that old white line? That old white line is a friend of mine. And it's a good time that we've been making. Right now, I'm thinking about those things that I know, but the daylight soon will be breaking. So I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, he is writing to a woman that he cares about and that he's away from. But I thought that was really well done. That was a classic Neil song. Next up, we have Vacancy, recorded in January of 1975. Vacancy, or They Can See, which is what it sounds like when they're saying it, right? They Can See, Vacancy. Go back and listen to it. Okay. So I thought that was really good. I thought that was more, it almost sounded like a Crazy Horse song with the instrumentation and stuff there. I don't really know what it's about. I mean, is this girl impersonating his girl or trying to be like her? Or, I don't know, but thought it was really well done. I thought the vibe of it was excellent. So I got 2 songs left. We got Little Wing. We got Neil on guitar, vocal, harmonica, recorded in January 1975 in LA. This is also on the Hawks and Doves album in 1980. So this one I have heard. I don't remember it too well. Simple enough song, but I do enjoy the strip back. Like Neil's voice sounds fantastic on here. I just like the texture of it. It's only a 2-minute song, but Little Wing, Don't Fly Away, When the Summer Turns to Fall. Don't some people say the winter is the best time of them all? Winter is the best time of them all. So that's the second verse. There's only 2 verses. No chorus, but I just think it works. Now we're up to the last track, Star of Bethlehem, recorded in Nashville in December of 1974. Ben Keith is on here, but this time he's on the dobro. Emmylou Harris is also on here. All right, Star of Bethlehem, the most country sounding song on this album. I like the arrangement. I like the harmonizing Emmylou on here. Ain't it hard when you wake up in the morning and you find out that those other days are gone? Ain't that the truth, man? All you have is memories of happiness lingering on, right? When all you're left with is those memories of when times were better, right? All your dreams and your lovers won't protect you. They're only passing through you in the end. So Neil's been wronged here. They'll leave you stripped of all that they can get to and wait for you to come back again, so they will destroy you. Yet still a light is shining from that lamp on down the hall. Maybe the Star of Bethlehem wasn't a star at all. So a good way to finish out this album. And that will take me to my favorite tracks. Honorable mentions, White Line. Maybe that's a favorite honorable mention. I forgot to mention that too. Robbie Robertson's on guitar on that. Vacancy and Little Wing. My faves are going to be Separate Ways, the very first track, and Star of Bethlehem, the very last track. So good sequencing if you believe in those sorts of things. Now we'll get to my overall score on the album. I mean, as I told you, this thing has a lot of praise, like 8.8 on Metacritic. Metacritic takes all the grades and puts them together for a composite score. So 8.8 is sky high. The critics thought so much of this, and I wonder if it's just because it's classic Neil 70s material brought out in 2020. It's been way too long. Because I think it's good, but I don't think it's that good. I'm at a 7.75 on this. I still like it. I think it's really good. It's cool to have. But I mean, there's a lot of his other stuff. There's so much good stuff from Neil. I really invite you to check out his playlist below. If you don't understand the depth and breadth of Neil, if you only know, a few songs and Heart of Gold and that sort of stuff, you're missing out, man, because he's in the 70s. He's as good as anybody out there. So thank you to Carl for bringing me this one. And let me know what you thought of this one down below. Give me your comments. What's your overall grade of this one? We're going to have more Neil coming up the next 2 months. And go catch up in the meantime on that playlist down below of Neil Young. All right, guys. Thanks again to Carl. Until next time, I will see you.